Hello, everyone, and welcome to Immigration Live with Lee. I'm your host, Attorney Lee Marvin, and today is a special edition. This is the election edition. Today is November 4th, 2024. Tomorrow is Election Day. So I'm here today to provide your immigration questions, trying to answer them and to give you the information you need. Might not necessarily relate to the election, but everything relates to politics. And the election tomorrow is the biggest day of the entire, 4 years. So big day tomorrow. Mr. M, how you doing? Greetings from Nashville. Appreciate it very much. Thank you for joining us. You're a loyal fan, so I appreciate it very much. So I will tell people, like Mr. M already indicated where he was from. I always ask people to tell us in the comment section where you're joining us from, just so we can get some commonality here. And I like to give shout outs to the different cities and countries people join us from. So today's no different. Just because tomorrow's the election doesn't mean we do things differently here, right? I've got a series of questions that I've already had clients ask about that I have available, but I sure would like to get questions from everyone out there. So please, I appreciate Mr. M, who says, let me show it here. I learned this trick last week. Fantastic broadcasts always. Appreciate it very much. Our friend from Nashville. So again, I'm here every week, and I've been doing this week in, week out. Some days are more interesting than others. Why are they more interesting? Because people ask questions that are relevant to other people, because we have people from all different platforms, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So if you're joining us from one of those different media platforms, welcome, and don't feel shy. Post your questions and I will answer them as they come out. Always have a ton of people from Instagram joining us. So thank you again for joining us from Instagram. Let's see here. So I will tell you, type your questions in the comments section. There's no way people don't have questions, because tomorrow may be, I said this earlier in a video I did. Tomorrow, Election Day 2024 may be one of the most important elections in the last 50 years. Maybe it's not true, but it's pretty darn close, because right now, this thing, immigrants, we're here tonight because we are immigrants, or we are closely tied to an immigrant, and you're coming here to get your questions answered. Well, I tell you what, this election, more than any election that since I've been practicing, which is about 20 years now, it's the most important election, because there's so many major issues, unanswered questions, policies that have failed, and all sorts of things that have been going on the last number of years. And this election is going to really make a potentially huge difference moving forward. Whether the Ford is going to be helping immigrants move forward, or if it's going to make it more challenging for immigrants, I don't know what to expect. I'm nervous. I'm excited. But like everything in my life, in my practice, my profession, I roll with it, right? That's all we can do, is we roll with it and we move on to the next opportunity, and we don't let it beat us, okay? Because again, you can easily give up and you can let people beat you, or you can keep moving along. So my advice is always to keep moving, because generally speaking, there's always a solution. You have to know who to talk to help you find the solution you need, okay? So with that, my little soapbox, I'm going to go back over here to, to YouTube. Let's see here. Thank you, happy girl. It's nice to see you too, or at least to see your name, because I know you've been joining us in the past, so I really appreciate it. So Mr. M from Nashville asks us, will tomorrow have a big impact on immigration? Okay. Yes, because there's so much that has been released about what the plans are, mostly Trump. To be honest with you, I haven't heard a whole lot from the vice president about what the plans are if she gets elected. I don't think that matters as much because it is absolutely going to be a continuation of the Biden administration and all the priorities, all the initiatives, all the things that the Biden administration tried to set into motion, especially the Pro in Place program that was created and put on hold. Tomorrow, I think, is due for a decision from the federal court, whether they're going to extend the stay or whether they're going to eliminate the state and open it back up. I think they're going to extend it for a little while longer, depending on the election. Of course, that's why they made the deadline tomorrow. After tomorrow, we'll have a whole lot more information about what's going to happen. But the Pro in Place program was a very significant proposal for people living in the United States illegally and who happen to be married to U.S. citizens. Major, major, major program that basically got shot down right away. It's not dead yet. It's still being litigated, but soon we'll know the fate of that. And so, Mr. M, the answer is yes. Depending on which president wins tomorrow, that program will either be resurrected or it'll be killed forever, okay? And that's true for a lot of different immigration policies, right? There's a lot of things that's going through. There's a lot of proposals. There's a lot of lingering questions. The border crisis, asylum. There's just so many things out there that we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for the election before we find out what's going to happen. So the thing is, we won't actually know until January, right? Because we've got a lame duck president. Once the election happened out, and until the new president, it doesn't matter which one it is, whoever is elected tomorrow, there's a lame duck period. Once the new president comes into power, that's when everything is going to start getting exciting, okay? So hang in there, strap in. It's going to be a wild ride. And tomorrow is, you're at the front of the line to get on the roller coaster. You have your ticket in hand, and tomorrow's when you're going to give the ticket and jump on the roller coaster, okay? So that being said, okay, before I get to this question, Happy Girl's asking a question. Again, elections. If you have the right to vote, you should probably already be planning on voting. I think a lot of people either already have the early voting, absentee voting, or already have plans on going out tomorrow. Hopefully, if you think it's important to you, you're planning on doing that. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Everybody knows what it means and the value of a vote. So tomorrow's the big day. Okay, so let me go here. Okay, so question is, after a divorce, does USCIS contact me because I filed and immigration didn't? So, Happy Girl. Yeah, I mean, yes, it depends what the process is, okay? Because there's several different paths that go through the green card process. It depends on your sponsor. It depends on who you are in relation to the sponsor. It depends so many things, okay? And I know we talked about this last week, and I apologize. I don't remember your history from last week to know how to answer that question without you providing more information. But immigration reaches out to you depending on which process you're in. Either it's the consular processing and the process continues to move forward and you get notified of your interview date, or if it's here in the United States, adjustment of status, same thing. You get notified when the interview is being scheduled. But a lot of times things happen that are a little bit different than what people are expecting because these processes are highly complicated and immigration is not exactly reliable. Okay. So let me see here. I'm gonna post this link here for people who wanted to ask me questions and to schedule a consultation, because a lot of this stuff after tomorrow, I think a lot of people are gonna really need to schedule a consultation because so much is up in the air. And people, after so many years, people are like, oh, I can do it myself. I just do a Google search and I can do my own immigration. And when people can, that's great. That's the exception. Okay. The last 4 years, without a doubt, is the most difficult I've had as an immigration attorney because of all the changes, all the difficult policy changes. So it's definitely challenging. Okay. So don't lose sight of that. And remember that things change at the drop of a hat, right? The presidents, whoever is going to be president, can make a notice of a new policy change, and all of a sudden the roller coaster goes over here. Okay. So that's the importance of staying informed with all this stuff. And I think you guys get it, which is why you tune in every Monday, right, to get information. So thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate the comment. So I'm going to go to the next question. Okay. So we got a friend from Boston, Massachusetts. Okay. So Richard says right here, I received a notice for an interview for the green card adjustment of status for December 3rd. I'm nervous. What is your advice? Okay. So Richard, I will say, since you're already on my YouTube channel, go to my channel and do a search because I have several videos about that. Okay. So I'm not going to take time right now to answer that. But I do have videos that I posted there for people like you who have questions like this. If you don't find what you're looking for, I will ask you to check out the consultation link and we can always talk in person. Okay. Okay, I'm looking through these other questions. Okay, this is, let's see, Yolande. Good evening. Yolande from Guyana. Can you say what are the dates for the National Visa Center working for the F2? Because my priority date has passed in September. Yeah, let me see here. Okay, let's see here. And this is, I know I usually don't answer these questions on here because it takes me a little bit of time to find the information. But now we're talking, well, Guyana. Okay. So one second. Okay. So the F2 in Guyana, we're talking, one second, you guys. November 2024, the visa bulletin for November. F2, there's F2A, which are spouses and children of permanent residents. I believe you're talking spouse, so F2A, January of 2022. Okay, so let's go back here. So you see your priority date has passed in September. So Yolanda, we might need to talk because I need a little bit more information. If your priority date was this past September, then you got a long wait, okay? Because right now they're processing requests from January of 2022, not September 2024. So you might be a couple years behind. If I'm missing some information, you could probably benefit from having a consultation so we can talk directly so I can answer your question, okay? So here's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm going to go on Instagram real quick and answer some questions that have been posted there, okay? So let's see here. I know the real Bernard was here last week asking questions, and welcome, sir, again this week. You got your first DUI in 2023. You did the court referral program. After completion with a certificate, the charges were dropped. There was no accident, no injuries, just speeding 10 miles an hour over. Will that affect my green card? Well, it's not just speeding. It's a DUI. Okay, DUI with speeding. Okay, so will it affect your green card? Yes, but it's not a green card killer. Okay, DUIs, generally speaking, are not killers unless you kill someone, okay? Meaning there's something more to the story. And if the only other part of your infraction was 10 miles an hour over, it's not a deal breaker because, you didn't do a hit and run. You didn't run, from a scene of accident. You didn't put somebody in the hospital or in the morgue. So generally speaking, a DUI like that is not going to kill your prospect of moving forward, but it does have an impact. Because again, it depends where you are, and it depends how harsh your local field office is with these things. But typically speaking, that's not going to be a deal breaker. Okay. And I got a question here. So this question from Sweet J30 is kind of incomplete. You say, how soon can you file for adjustment of status? How soon after what? Maybe I missed your question above. No. So Sweet J30, you might want to provide a little bit more information because I don't know what you're talking about completely, okay? Hola, tia, ¿cómo estás? Buenas noches. Okay. Here's a question from Musaraha or Raja. Do you think that the U.S. government will allow for the Lebanese to be able to enter the U.S. without any visa due to the struggles that are happening there? I don't think so. That's something that I've never seen in immigration. Unless you talk about Afghanistan and you talk about the conflict with Russia, with Ukraine, they've had processes that they created out of the blue for those. And it is possible that people in Lebanon might be granted something similar to that. So if I was a bet man, I'd say that chances are actually pretty decent that they will create that. But again, a lot comes down to who becomes president, okay? Because the president has the power to do these things. The president often does these things when major conflicts happen like this. Again, Afghanistan and the conflict with Russia and Ukraine. So it is possible, okay? Let's see here. So I guess the most important thing is to stay tuned in, because if something like that happens, believe me, I'm going to be noticing that, and I'm going to be telling people on my lives and probably doing social media videos about it, okay? Okay. So Desmay Bruce, I received a message from USCIS that an action has been taken on my case after applying for 2 years. But since last Friday, I haven't seen any updates. So do not dismay, Desmay Bruce, because that's pretty common, right? For immigration not to update things quickly is really how it works, okay? So if it's 3 weeks, I'd say, yeah, that's going a little bit long, but 1 week is nothing for them to not actually provide any information. So I wouldn't sweat it yet, okay? But keep on them. Make sure you're asking them. You're absolutely welcome, Desmay Bruce. I would keep on them. Remember, you always have the right to call immigration. I know it's not fun. I know it kind of stinks doing it, but you have the right to contact them and to ask them for updates. This online portal stuff, I've never been a fan of it because it's false hope. It doesn't really provide much information for people, but check that out. And if you don't like what you see there, meaning they don't really provide much information, you can call immigration and ask them directly. And, it's a coin toss whether you're going to get a good agent to help you or not, but you do have that right. So the real Bernard, again, thank you, sir. The link that I put above, the question is, I appreciate you. How can I get you to do my marriage green card application? By asking me, just like you did. And by me providing the link in the chat where you can actually reach out to us and you can schedule moving forward with it, okay? You're to the point where you really need to do it, you really can do it, and it's good. The timing is good. So give us a call. And again, at the bottom of the page, you'll see a phone number and my web address. You probably have already checked it out before, but check us out so I can help you get started right away, okay? So this is a good post from one of our viewers. Charles Johnson, 2155, Desmay Bruce, they probably are sending in the mail. That's always a possibility too. So getting stuff in the mail, typically speaking, when something's in the profile, they provide you some sort of update. But yes, if immigration is taking forever to do things through the mail, I just posted my link again. So Desmay Bruce, you can get in touch with me. Yeah, waiting for stuff in the mail. Yes, that's the reality. Okay. Immigration processing it and then the mail processing. So it does take a little bit of time. Don't give up hope. I feel that it's not going to be much longer for you. So hang in there. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go back over here, see if there's anyone from I just was on Instagram. I'm looking at YouTube now. Okay. Okay, so the cool thing about people who join us from Instagram is that I can post it on the screen. Beatrice Anderson, hi from Brazil. Hello, thank you for joining us from Brazil. I think that that's the first one from South America today that's said where they're from. So thank you for joining us. Why does VAWA take so long? It's so frustrating. Oh, totally agree with you. And I don't know if you mean the processing of the receipt of your VAWA or your actual VAWA approval. They take a ridiculous amount of time for sure, just like U visas, okay? Why is that? Because VAWA, U visas, and other humanitarian-based immigration processes take a lot of brain power from the government to review all this stuff and for them to just processing time. Because these things are not cut and dried. I'm not saying any immigration process is cut and dried, but a family-based spouse sponsorship for a green card is easier because the government isn't really using their judgment or second guessing what's being filed as much as VAWA, okay? Because in VAWA, the government's saying, okay, something bad happened to you, and we need to make sure that you're not just making it up. So we're going to take a lot of time to vet it, to make sure that all the information is there that supports your claim that you have VAWA. So Beatrice, that is why it takes so long, because it is one of the more complicated immigration processes. I imagine that if you had the spouse sponsorship process, you'd be moving forward. The fact that you're doing VAWA means that one may have not worked out if it was based on a spouse relationship. So it is a bit more challenging than a traditional I-130 green card process. So hang in there though, okay? If you do have questions, I posted my link a couple times. You can reach out to me, okay? Okay. Let's see. Looking here. So Happy Girl, you asked about the question, the phone number for USCIS. I don't have it right now, but there's only one phone number that exists for USCIS. So if you do a Google search, or if you look on the back of whatever notice you've gotten from immigration, that number's on there, okay? Okay, let's see here. There's another follow-up from Happy Girl, okay? Does immigration look at how many addresses an immigrant has had in a year? What if the person has had 5 or more addresses within a year or two? So they look at everything, okay? What does that mean to me? If I was a government agent and I saw somebody with 5 addresses in a year or two, I would wonder what the heck they're doing with their lives that they have so many addresses. Does it have any legal significance? No, it matters not at all, right? If you have a sponsor and you're going through a process and you move 30 times, it's none of the government's business. Logistically, it's more challenging because you have to provide that information to them. But legally speaking, it has no impact whatsoever on your case. Okay, so don't sweat it, happy girl. And again, I posted that link. Sounds like you probably have more questions than that. So we probably need to talk. Okay, so check out that link, schedule a consultation. Okay, Beatrice, my pleasure. Good luck to you and your VAWA. Okay. I'm going to go over to my friends on Instagram as I see that we're getting close to the end, but I'm not ready to go yet. Okay. So I had a question. Okay, again from Char Johnson. Can I file for my 21-year-old son as a green card holder? Yes. The answer is yes. If you, as a parent, have a child that's 21 years old and you are a legal resident, you have the right to sponsor them to get a green card themselves. Okay. The opposite is not true. So if you have a child who's a legal permanent resident, they cannot sponsor you until they become a citizen. But the opposite is not true. Okay. So you definitely can do it. Again, check out my channel, do some searches, or click on the link, schedule a consultation if you have more questions about that. Okay. Okay. So hi, Martha. How are you? Thank you for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. Let me see what else do we have over here on YouTube. Okay. We have Gideon. I was charged with domestic violence, I believe, but my lawyer is pursuing a pretrial diversion. Also, my green card is pending. I got my work permit already. Okay. Gideon. Oh, there you go. Okay. Follow up to that. Can a pretrial diversion be a conviction for immigration? I have never been charged before. It was all misunderstanding between me and my wife. So again, conviction's a conviction. Whether it goes through a diversion program, it's still a conviction. Immigration has the magical powers to make anything that disappears legally in other processes of the law reappear. You can never run or hide from a past conviction from immigration, okay? Now, all the information about the conviction does have a lot of value, okay? So if it was part of a diversion, means the prosecutor thought that it was not really severe enough that you need to really be punished severely, okay? So that has value because you can communicate that to immigration and show them that whatever it was not as bad as what it looks like. And again, it's hard to convince the government of that sometimes, but you do have the right, okay? So hopefully that gives you the answer you need, okay? Let me go back over to Instagram. The last couple minutes of the program today. Columbiana Eats didn't get to finish this question in the last live. Good. Thank you for remembering. With a new administration coming in January, is there a possibility that new immigration regulations could affect petitions from 2024? Sadly, yes. Anything that the government does, anything that the immigration does, absolutely can have an impact out on petition. Typically, it's limited to what they can do, right? And it depends in what it is. If it's just an enforcement policy that the Biden administration put into place, and then it is changed by the Trump administration, that can change in a day. If it's a law that was passed by Congress, that doesn't really change, okay? So it really depends what it is and how it's changed. Again, this presidential prosecutorial presidential power to change things is dangerous, okay? Because it's very arbitrary and it can change at any moment, okay? DACA is an example. DACA was created by President Obama, and it wasn't passed by Congress. So that's why there's been nonstop trouble for DACA recipients since day one. It's because it was just created out of the whim of the executive power, okay? So that's the answer to that question is things can change. Absolutely, okay? So it just, that's why I said at the beginning of the broadcast, you got to strap in because it's going to be a wild ride, not just the next day and a half to 4 months, but the next 4 years is going to be a wild ride because it always is with immigration, okay? Let me see if I missed something before we sign off. Okay. Gabrielas, is it true that those who work in the Air Force cybersecurity cannot marry people who overstay? Negative. That is not true. I don't know where you got that from. We should probably talk because I'm in the Army. You're in the Air Force. There's relevant things that apply to you that we might need to talk about. There's a lot of misconceptions about how things work out there. So, I mean, security clearance is always a thing. You understand security clearance? That always has relevancy to you being serving in the military. So overstays of visas, I don't know if the military is going to enforce somebody's or punish you for somebody else's overstay. I don't think so, but we can talk about that. If you wanted to book a time to talk to me, I just put the link up there. We can definitely talk. I'm gonna call it here pretty quick. I'm gonna look over here to see if there's any questions that I missed because it's already past our allotted time together. But let's see here. Okay, so Gideon, you're saying that there is no conviction, okay? Pretrial settlement. Okay, you have court on the 9th. So that's why it's so important to talk to your criminal attorney or your family law attorney, because if they can do things that prevent it from resulting in a conviction, that's going to be a game changer for you, because convictions, you can't do much once you actually have a conviction. But if they work with you and they don't charge you the same way, then that has a very big difference on your future immigration case, okay? So again, thank you kindly for everyone joining us. Every week we have so many people joining us. Thank you. I'm going to say again, check in next Monday, because next Monday we'll know the results from tomorrow's election. And I'll have some more commentary on what it means for you good people and your loved ones, okay? So check us out. Check my social media, because I'm going to be posting things as they come out with the election and anything that is relevant to my clients and to you people too. See you next Monday, Eastern Standard Time. We're back on daylight savings here in Michigan, which is Eastern Standard Time. So we're a little bit different than what we were last week, and I forgot to mention that. So check us out for the next, half of a year. We're going to be on this time slot, which is still 8 o'clock my time, whether it's daylight savings or not, okay? So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night, and don't forget to vote.